Girl, bye. Ain't nobody checking for her with that raggedy wig on her head.
It's only room for one woman on this ladder to success.
If I hear my husband come out her mouth one more time.
Girl, your hair stay on point. Who's your stylist?
Oh, girl, just email me your resume. I'll make sure my boss gets it.
Oh, you guys look so good together. What's y'all secret? Ladies, it's time out for throwing shade.
Empowered women empower women.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Quanda.
Your host on the West Coast, crown me Tessie the Queen.
And it's Shakita.
And this is Cornbread Fed Podcast.
Brought to you by Erratic Behavior. Who's ready to eat?
What's up, world? Welcome to episode 4. This is the boss of episode, and we got a great show in store for y'all today. But first, as always, we're going to start off with some current events. So, Shakita, take us away.
Yes. So glad to be back again, ladies. So we're going to jump right into our current events. As you all know, we're quarantined, everybody. Everybody is in the house. No moving, no stores or anything. So we got plenty of time to go on social media to see what's going on. So I went into, as you all know, the actor Christian Keys. He decided to post just a random post. We don't know what he's doing, but he decided to post a laughing emojis, and also stated that Black women are definitely superheroes. And so, as you all know, being a celebrity, someone has to say something. Well, even majority of people are saying something. So there was a comment from a young lady. She put at Christian Keys and quote, all women. So he decided to clap back. So his clap back, he said, I said what I said. It's a shame that we can't even celebrate Black women without others. Popping up talking about what about us? Just because somebody says something positive about Black women, it doesn't mean that you don't like the same in other women. It just means that here in this moment right now, I would like to say something positive and amazing about a Black woman. If that offends you, then you are part of the problem. God bless. Now that was a clap back. So what do
It
you ladies
definitely
think?
was.
For sure.
It
Yes.
definitely was, and definitely needed to happen and be said. Yes.
So I really want you girls' opinion about it. Like, what do you think about it? Because it's kind of on the same line as when people say Black Lives Matter, but then it's like no, all lives matter. But at the moment, what do you think? Like, do you agree with them, or do you agree with that fan, or what?
No,
Well, I can say, give my take on it. I feel like he was right saying that it's in the moment. Even like you said with the Black Lives Matter, we understand that all lives matter, but all lives aren't being taken at this time. So we're not talking about all lives. We're talking about Black lives that has been the target. And as far as what he's saying, Christian is saying, they've always been celebrating other races, white women particularly in magazines and media. They're always celebrated. So in his moment, he wanted to take the time and celebrate a Black woman, which is good, and he has every right to, but he's not discrediting all the other women. People just need to learn how to keep their comments to themselves.
Yes.
um,
What you think, Tess?
I mean, I agree. I think it goes into what we talked about when we discussed the founder of Honey Pot and her commercial on Target, where she said, she hopes to inspire the next generation of young Black girls, and people were all up in arms saying, oh, what about, why can't it be all girls? Why did you have to Target and say Black girls? And it's just like, really? for centuries, in this
Mm-hmm.
country, we have been on the end of, backlash, going back to slavery and discrimination and segregation and all of that. So we're in a time where we have our own, we're trying to build upon that, build legacies, and promote for our next generation and grow. And we are, and with the help of social media, we're able to connect in ways and uplift each other in ways that we haven't before. And this is one of those
Right.
ways. Like, we literally, like, there's a whole Black
Right.
Twitter there. There, you know what I mean? Like, we're in these spaces
Right.
and we're here for each other, and we're, just coming around each other. And I think that, other races, they shouldn't see a problem with that. Like, this is what we need as Black people. Just to it's just a part of us. It's our culture. We are not sliding you
Mm-hmm.
in any way. We're not, trying to, say that your lives don't matter, or that, white women aren't superheroes. Like, we're not saying that. We're not saying that young white girls
Mm-hmm.
can't aspire to have a business in Target. We're not saying that at all. But we're just
Mm-hmm.
providing examples and trying to show our younger generation, and even our, our own generation, people our age, people older than us, positive Black images. And that's important. That's what's needed. So
Mm-hmm.
I think anytime people come with these negative comments, I saw something, somebody left a comment that said, "Oh my God, these other races want to be oppressed so bad. They want to feel oppressed so bad." And it's just like, why? No, you really don't.
Right.
You don't want to.
Right.
Trust us.
Right.
Yes.
Stop
You
making
don't
something out of
want what we
nothing.
go through.
Yeah, just stop trying to make something out of nothing, because it's just,
Nothing.
you look
Right.
silly when you do that. So I totally agree with
Right.
Christian. I think his clapback was appropriate. It wasn't disrespectful. It
Mm-hmm.
was, he said what he
No.
said. To pull the Nene Leaks. I said what I said.
Yes.
Said what
I
I said.
I really love the part when he said it, because Nene Leakes is my favorite girl. I don't care what Nene Leakes do, but she's my favorite. But
So what do
but
you
I
think?
like the part that he said, like, I said what I said. But I feel like at the moment, like, I get it. I just don't understand why people want to comment on things so much. Like, he maybe was at, I don't know, like a acting, or he saw some woman directing a movie. We don't know what he was doing at that
Mm-hmm.
moment. He started
Mm-hmm.
laughing. So it was like, he was like really laughing, like, wow, like, I
And
can't believe
amazing.
what I just saw.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Black women are definitely like superheroes. Like, we don't know at the moment, like, what is
He
going
was
on.
right.
Like, are you serious? You really, it could be, he could have been talking about his mom, as far as I know. Like, we have no clue who he's talking about, but we do know that it was a Black woman
Right. And he didn't
that was in
bash
his
any other
life.
races
So
in the process. He didn't
no,
say Black
no,
Mm-mm.
women are
obviously.
superhero and other women are trash. Like, he literally did not mention any negativity toward any race of any other woman. So,
Mm-hmm.
how do you find issue with that?
Yeah, it's sad in the world that we live in, but it's just it's just something that we go through. But I really truly believe that's all we do in our community, which I love. Being a Black woman myself, is that we do uplift each other. We have a lot of cases where we don't, you know,
Yeah,
but
but that's what. Yeah,
we
that's what
we
anybody.
love to uplift each other, because that's what we need. Because that's
Mm-hmm.
not the world that we live in. So we
Right.
need to uplift each other. So, and that's
Right.
what we do here on Erratic Behavior on this podcast. But cornbread.
I agree. I
Cornbread.
agree.
Cornbread.
Yes. So, ladies, we're all in quarantine right now. So I wanted to know, how are you guys coping with not getting your hair done, your nails done, and all of these things that we felt were essential, but we find out they're not. So
Oh
how are
my
you guys
goodness.
coping with all of that? And I mean, I could start out by saying, with myself, I want our listeners to know that we don't want to put pressure on anybody. If you're not doing anything, like if you're not writing a book, if you're not finding out or making up a business. Oh, I got a business idea. It's really okay. It's okay. I don't want people to feel like if you're not doing something during this time, then you're not, doing anything with your life.
Yes.
So I do want people to understand that. But I'm just to say how I'm coping with it. I just try to stay busy, like around the house. Um, doing things like that. I go in my driveway, get some sunshine. I don't go anywhere else. Um, and then just having conversations with my kids. I do that. I catch up on like Netflix movies and great documentaries. I'm into documentaries, so I look at documentaries a lot and just constantly learning and evolving myself like through that, just relaxing, and on myself to come up with this great idea while I'm in quarantine. So what about you guys? What are y'all doing?
Good. That's good. Well, I guess I'll go next. I'm the opposite, as always. I'm the one that's, I'm mentally, this is killing me, this quarantine, because I'm a mover. I like to do things.
Right.
I like to plan. I like to do it all. And so now that I'm home and that I'm working from home, and I have 3 kids and a husband in the house, it's getting a little crazy for me. So, Lord help me. Pray for me every day, y'all, because I need it. Working from home, I'll start first. It's a big change. Like, it's even putting a burden on my back, my neck. It's just like,
well, you need an
it's just
ergonomic chair in there.
Yes, I need something different. It's just that the way I just position myself is just all wrong because you're so used to working,
right.
at work or whatever.
At your desk, yeah.
But it's just different for me. But I feel like I really need to just slow my brain down, start thinking, start relaxing, get my planner back out, get some things going and plan. So that's why I said I'm the opposite, because I want to start planning something and put my mind on something. So hopefully I can get my husband on board again and getting our business, what we're supposed to be doing as far as with our little businesses that we want to start. So hopefully we'll start doing that eventually.
Okay.
And I just sent out that we need to start doing like a Bible study.
Which is the awesome idea.
Yes, like a virtual Bible study with the family. And then also I started planning out like exercising and also drinking more water. Of listening to a lot of the videos of some of our African American people that have had the COVID-19 and what they're saying, like your health. So that kind of like hit home for me. Like I need to get on track, eating right, drinking more water, and then like that's me now.
Right. That's
gotcha.
good.
Yeah, no, those are all great things. Me myself, I am doing okay as far as I'm cooking, I'm reading, I'm working on, my projects outside of work. I am working from home as well, but I'm working on my own, creative projects outside of work and things like that. But I am not doing well in being alone for this long. Like, I live alone.
No.
I live away from the family. I'm over here on the West Coast in the Bay. So, all the family, everybody is North Carolina, South Carolina, and all that. So, I live in my apartment alone. I don't have a pet. There's no dog, no puppy, no fish, nothing. So I mean,
Get you a puppy.
I get out, take care. I do my self care. I take a shower, even though I'm not going anywhere. I put my little products in my hair. Put little earrings in my ear. My nails were looking horrendous. I took my nails off, and I'm getting them my natural nails in some type of order. So all that is fine, but like I said to you guys yesterday, like I'm just really thinking like I might just risk it and get on the flight and go and come be with the family because my job just let us know that we're gonna be work from home now through May 31st. So I've already all of March, going into all of April, and now I got to do all of May. I can't. Check on your single, no pets, no family around friends. We are not okay. Okay?
We are not okay.
There are not enough Zoom meetings in the world. We Zoom. We have the virtual Zoom. We were just playing bingo on Zoom. I did spoken word poetry on Zoom, but still, I have my moments, y'all.
It's not the same.
It's not. You want to just,
just another breathing entity on the couch across from me. Something. But then I'm too much of a scaredy cat because obviously, I mean, I have friends and things, but I'm so much of a scaredy cat, and I feel like I catch everything, and obviously, you're supposed to stay in the house and not be congregating with people, but to even think about like, oh, well, I could try to go to one of my friends, like, I'm not doing it. I'm scared.
Right.
While I'm out there, I could catch it. So
yeah, and it is a real thing. It is a real thing.
But I say that, but then I just said I would risk getting on a plane.
Risk it all.
Versus, I'd rather risk getting on a plane flying across the country than to go to a friend's house. I don't. But the thing with a friend's house, like, I wouldn't be like staying there. I would just be going for a visit and then still coming back to be alone. If I actually make a trip home, be with family, like, I would be with y'all every day. So I don't know. I gotta figure it out, but I'm not gonna do well in total isolation by myself all the way through the end of May. It's not.
So May.
Something is gonna have to give. For sure. So, any tips y'all have? Any listeners? Y'all leave them in the comments or something. Cause, help your girl out. Help your girl out. But are we good? Are we ready to move into our interview, ladies?
Yes.
I'm ready to go. Very excited for our interview.
Okay. We're excited for the interview. This is the Boss Up episode. We got a boss for y'all this episode. Woo woo. So without further ado, let me go ahead and give y'all a little bit of background on this woman before we bring her on the show. I literally, if I read all of the receipts, it's gonna take up the whole episode. So I'm gonna just hit y'all with a few highlights.
Okay.
Okay. So she is the founder and CEO of her own nonprofit. Okay. Bam. Founder, CEO. She is the first African American woman to inspire a customer-based collection with New York and Company, and she actually designed, styled, and starred in the 9-piece collection with the brand. So she was all over the stores everywhere. I was seeing her pictures in everything in her collection. So woo woo. She has worked as a molecular biologist. Okay, smart. And scientific and structural designer at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So we're talking about COVID-19. She used to work for the CDC. Okay.
Right.
Okay. She was awarded the Living Legend Award from the House of Hope Atlanta, Who's Who in Black Atlanta in Education and Leadership, and obtained a Global Health Delivery Certificate from Harvard University. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Without further ado, that Harvard University. Without further ado, please welcome to Cornbread Fed Podcast, Dr. Roblena E. Walker. Woo! Woo!
Yes!
Hey, ladies.
Hello.
I didn't even read all of the accolades, y'all. There's more.
That's enough.
Kept going.
I'm so excited to be here with you all.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Excited to have you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much for joining. How are you? First of all, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
You know, the whole world is under quarantine and shelter in place due to this pandemic. So,
right.
Just trying to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do to protect myself and my family. And so, I'm keeping my mind healthy and trying to stay fit at the same time and not let COVID-19, it's like freshman 15, when you first go to college, your freshman year, you gain 15 pounds.
Right.
Trying to come up out of this thing with 19 pounds. It's not
Right.
happening. So,
Right.
just trying to keep myself together, I'm like, oh, it's so hard. And
It is. It is.
when you could just want to just sit on the couch and snack or whatever, but just trying to stay busy.
That's good.
Working from home keeps me busy anyways.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm doing good.
Gotcha. Well, that's great to hear. Awesome. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the questions. So, and going through your bio and reading your book and everything, you operate in a lot of different lanes. So you're in fashion, you're in business, you are all these different things. So we wanted to know, how do you connect with different women in the different industries that you do operate in? Do you find yourself having to kind of code switch, or are you just always yourself no matter what? Like, how do you go about it?
I only know how to be me 100% of the time. And I tell people, it doesn't matter what arena it's in, whether I'm in a boardroom full of Caucasian men, or I'm at a fish fry and it's all of our cousins in them. I'm going to remain true to Roblena, because that's the way I was raised, to remain true to who I am. I don't know how to turn off or turn on. I can't do that, because at the end of the day, I'm going to suffer personally. So, I go in and like you said, I do work in different fields, and it's because I don't want to be boxed into one particular thing. And so some of the government offices that I work for, when they fly me out for meetings or whatever, they know that Robelena's going to come in there and, some yellow or purple and, and that I'm not going to be in black. That's just not what I'm not going to do. And so they know it and they accept it. And so when you remain true to who you are, it allows people to know exactly how they should treat you and how they should respect you. And so I don't do the code switch. I don't even know what that really is, honestly. I just stay true to who I am. And that would be the best advice that I would give to any woman, especially an African-American female who is trying to switch lanes a little bit. You have to remember who you are and where you come from first and foremost, because that's going to allow you to, stepstone. And I always tell people, everything that you do in life is a stepping stone. So you have to remember where you came from and your upbringing, and always do things that are, ethical, because let me not say who, me per se, I'm not going to compromise my integrity for a title, quote unquote, or a position.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and for those who choose to do that, that's fine, but that's just not what I'm going to do. So, right. Yeah. So that's what I do. I remain true to who I am and bring all my bubbly personality wherever I go.
There you go.
But
all right.
You know what? Speaking of bubbly personality, so we grew up together, and I've always admired how you can come into the room, honey, and give them Robalina. So tell our listeners, because I know you, but tell our listeners, Robalina, how you own the room. Tell them. How do you own the room? What is it that you do?
Let me tell you something. Honey, on my worst day, I'm posh. You know what I'm saying? So when I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror, the Lord created a masterpiece. I got crust in my eyes. I haven't brushed my teeth or anything. Okay? But I'm like, girl, you are beautiful. So it starts right there. It starts right there from the minute I open my eyes and I say, thank you, Lord, for another day. And I'm just like, because we as Black women, we like our hair extensions, our braids, our wigs, or whatever. Honey, I can have some raggedy cornrows in my hair, and you're still beautiful, honey. Just get that wig and throw it on and own this thing,
Make it work.
So, it worked. And so it's just, again, I have everything that I do. I guess I take it back to my upbringing. Being raised in a single home. My mother uprooted my sister and I from Georgia, from Atlanta to South Carolina. And so I remember when we first moved, South Carolina, and we went to, I can't remember what school it was. It was some elementary or what, I can't remember. But at any rate, the kids would pick on us, and they would say, "Oh, y'all talk so proper," or, "Oh, you talk so white." You know, I remember going home one day, and I was a little upset because I was like, "What? Like, I'm talking. This is how I talk." You know,
Right.
And so my mom sat me down, and she was like, "Listen, Butterball, people are always going to have something to say. You know, everybody is not going to like you, but you still just, you know, be yourself. Be who you walk in that room, and you own it like you own the building." And
Right.
from that moment, honey, it's like she planted that seed, and honey,
That's
that thing
good.
has, when I tell you, it has manifested into something.
Yes.
And so
Yes,
she would
honey.
tease me. She would tease me now, like if we're FaceTiming and I'm doing my makeup, and if I do this, she says, "Oh my gosh, don't say it." And I'm because she already knows what's getting ready to come behind it. She say, "Don't say it." My nickname is Butterball. "Don't say it, Butterball. Don't say it." I'm like, "No, mommy, I gotta tell you, honey. When I tell you, this girl is gorgeous." And I don't care what I'm wearing. I don't care what it is. It could be a t-shirt, some jeans, or sneakers. It could be a suit. I don't care what it is, because it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
That is
Damn.
so awesome.
Cornbread.
I don't care
Eat your
where I'm going.
cornbread.
Yes.
I don't care where I'm going. I just walk in the room like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. And I had
That's good.
to, I really had to just live into that thing, especially in the different entities that I work in. You know, the white dominated areas, or sometimes the white female arenas, you know, and sometimes I'm the only little black thing in there, you know.
Mhm,
So I have to walk in the room like, I'm supposed to be here. Okay, let's get to work now.
That's
you know?
good.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
I encourage anybody out there who's struggling with that, and it does relate to your self-confidence and your self-love.
Yeah.
And so if you're struggling with that, like, get yourself around people who can pour into you and who believe in what you believe in and who are going to motivate you, because that played a pivotal role. Like I said, especially being uprooted and being in a single family environment, and partially being raised by my grandmother, you know, all of that played a role. And so that self-love, like, honey, you can't tell me I ain't listen. I don't care what none of y'all say. I already know. So my confidence is through the roof. And so, and it's
That's
not
good.
to say that I don't have bad days, or I get upset, or I get sad, and I get depressed, because I do. And I live in it for a second. I acknowledge it, and then I'm like, okay, that's enough. Pity party over. Okay, what we about to do to push through this thing? And so that's just, you know, so you have to figure out where it comes from. I know for me where it comes from, and I know that I was sharing this with a friend the other day. I know the legacy that I want to leave behind, because I know what I've come through, and I know what I've seen my mother come through, and so for me it's different. So you have to figure out what your why is, what your purpose is, and then once you do that, like, everything just aligns and everything correlates to each other, and it's easy. You just live your life like, let me see your part.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, getting into all that self-confidence and self-love, I'm sure there's success behind it. But success isn't easy, as we all know.
It's not. It's hard.
No, it really isn't. But we want to know what's been the blueprint to your success. And, like, did you have all those things on a list of goals, or did some of those things just come and you just ran with it?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. So my blueprint for success has been my faith. When I tell you I have, oh my God, crazy doesn't even begin to describe my faith. It doesn't at all. It's my faith has brought me through highs, lows, in betweens, and my trust in God. And so I am a goal-oriented person. You know, I do like to set goals, and I like to challenge myself, you know. And so sometimes that's why I was chuckling a little bit when Tess was reading my bio, because to be honest, sometimes I forget some of the things that I do, because I'm always challenging myself to rise to the next level, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to tell myself, okay, well, just sit and bask in it for a minute. And after about 30 seconds, I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? You know, we got to keep this train. We got to keep this train moving.
Yes.
We don't have time to just wallow in that last victory. That's good. All right, girl. Okay, have you a glass of wine, celebrate, and then on to the next thing. So I am very goal oriented, and I failed a lot of times. Oh, I mean, more times than I could even count, you know. But with every failure, it's always a lesson in it, and it's always propelled me to, you know, continue to climb higher and higher and higher. I remember when I first started my nonprofit, Omega High Inc. And I was really, and that came from a place of, and see, this is what people don't see on, you know, on the inside, what happens. And so I was in between jobs at the time. And so I was just sitting in here, and I was just like Tess, living by myself. Granted, I had my 4-legged son, you know,
I need
but
to
I was
get
just
one.
in this house by you need to get you one. I'm telling you, they'll change your life. But I was sitting here, and it seemed like the 4 walls were beginning to cave in, and I was just like, no, this is not life. This is not what's about to happen, not on my watch. And so that's where Omega High Inc. was birthed. And what I did with it is, because I do have a background in science, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take what I know about science and put a little spin to it, and, you know, get my sister involved. She got engineering, and my other friends who are in tech or whatever, and we're going to educate and empower these kids in STEM, because I felt like the shoulders that I was standing on, they had poured too much into me for me to just be like, okay, you can just crawl up in a fetal position and just basically die. That wasn't what happened. So I was excited. I got everything going, got my 501c3, blah, blah, blah. So here we are, because when you're a not-for-profit or nonprofit, you know, you got to raise funds. And so I remember applying for this grant with NIH. Oh my gosh. I applied for this grant, and it was a $1.5 million grant. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I was contacted by them several times, and they informed me that it was my application and another application that was in the running. And so, you know, we had to send in some more documents, more details. Writing a grant is not easy. Okay. It's a lot of work. So long story short, at whatever rate, we fell short of the grant. We didn't get it. I mean, I could have picked this house up and just flipped it upside down.
Wow.
I was so upset. I was so mad. And so I called my mom, and I was just like, I mean, I poured everything into this thing. I just don't understand. This doesn't make no sense. And I'm crying, you know, all of this stuff. And so she was like, okay, go ahead, have your moment. And so then, you know, 2 or 3 days later, I got another contact from the NIH who said, well, hey, we have another grant. You know, we want you all to apply for it if you just do X, Y, or Z. And I was just like, you know what? I exhausted, 24, 72 hours being mad, but it wasn't time. It wasn't time. But, and I took that as a failure, and I was defeated. But, you know, my faith, if I would just activated my faith in that moment and remember who I was, then it would have been like, look, God got you. And so when they contacted me back, put it in, and, you know, the rest is history. We were able to get the grant and you know,
that's good.
Go
that's
on
good.
and
awesome.
kids in the community. So
that's awesome.
Yes. I'm sure a lot of people can learn from that story. Yeah,
definitely.
Awesome. So in line with your crazy faith, the opposite of faith we can say is fear. So when fear does start to creep up and, you know, try to get into your mind and attack your positive thoughts and all of that, you know how it does. How have you been able to overcome that and still attack your goals, reach new heights and keep climbing?
Yeah. So, oh my goodness, how many times has fear? You know, it's like you got the good side and the bad side on your shoulders, and one's telling you, "Oh, so you can't do this," and the other one's like, "Yes, you can." It's like, oh, and you're just like, "Okay, I gotta quiet this down." So I'll go for a walk, you know, because it's very therapeutic for me. If I'm not walking, I'm either shopping, cooking, or cleaning, because those are my therapies. I don't need to sit on nobody's couch. But for those who do, you know, do what you got to do, you know. But for me, I'm scrubbing baseboards. You know, my mommy will call. She said, "Well, just come home, girl. We got plenty of cleaning to do around the house, and I'll just go home. And I'll just drive from Atlanta to Sumter and go home and get it out because I have to get it out. And so once I get it out, and during that process, whether I choose to realize it or not, I'm meditating. I'm really meditating, and I'm really asking myself these questions like, why are you allowing this to come in and stop you now? Why are you allowing these feelings to come in? Like, you're more powerful than this. You have more potential than this. So all of that has happened simultaneously, all at the same time. And so then once I get all my little stress relief out, and probably have a glass of wine or two, then I sit down and I re-strategize. And I'm like, okay, that part didn't work, and this is what led to that feeling. So let's remember that. So the next time it tries to creep up, we know exactly what we need to do. I sit down, I re-strategize, I replan, and then I put some fire to that thing, and I keep it moving.
That's awesome.
I keep it moving, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Go eat your cornbread.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good. Well, we got a little glimpse of you, Roblena, before we started the call, and you was looking fabulous. Makeup was popping, the beat was on. So, how do you balance, all these multiple businesses and still be able to, do self-care and then your family time? Because I do see you, being with your sister and really staying connected. So how do you balance that?
You know what? My friends ask me that all the time, and I tell them that I'm not successful without my family or my close friends. I'm not.
Yes.
And so that's priority to me. So like, if my friend calls me at 2 a.m. and needs to talk, I'm going to sit up in the bed and I'm going to listen to her, or I'm going to listen to him, because I know there's been times, and there will continue to be times when I'm going to need that same listening ear,
Right.
So family and friends are priority to me, and I make that clear in any entity that I work in. From the minute, and honestly, that's a part of my negotiation, because, a lot of times people get it twisted sometimes. It's like the employer is always trying to make the negotiations, but it's like, okay, no, you want me to come work for you, so we're gonna negotiate this right here. So let me tell you X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely.
And so family is I make it clear to them, if anything happens with family, like, you can forget it. I'm not submitting that report. I'm not doing that. It's just going to have to wait, because guess what? It's not that serious. This is what's serious right now. So balancing it has always been a priority. It will always remain a priority. I don't care where life may lead me. And, family will always come first. Always. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then when it comes to juggling my self-care, I do have moments where I do have to cut it off, and then I keep it real. If somebody calls and says, well, hey, can you do something for me, or blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, well, I can't do it right now, but maybe I can get with you next week, or, because I had to learn how to say no.
Yes.
For me. Because a lot of times I found myself saying yes, 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 and I was burning myself out on both ends. It was just like the only time I went to myself was in the shower or on the toilet, and so I was like, this is not life. This is not.
Right.
So I had to learn how to say no, and I began to see that when you're honest with people and you tell them, no, I can't right now, but maybe later, they respect it. They respect it, and when you set those boundaries, they respect it. And like, even with my sister, she'll come over, she want to hang out, turn up every weekend. Like, no, we're not turning up this weekend. Now, I work hard all week.
Yes.
Now we can do some sister things, but we're not about to get turned. I'm not going out. I'm not doing that. And so it's been an adjustment for some, but once they adjust, and then they appreciate the fact that you are taking care of yourself, because if I don't do that, I'm no good for nobody, including myself. So it is important. It is, I try to keep my skin clear, and like I was saying earlier, I try to work out 3 to 4 times a week. I drink my water. I'm a salmon girl, and saute spinach and sweet potatoes, like fresh fruits and vegetables. I try to eat healthy, so that way, if there's those moments where, sleep may not be in the forecast for a day, then at least I'm getting the nutrients that my body needs, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm with
So,
you.
yeah.
I'm with
Yeah,
you.
I definitely
Yeah.
understand what telling
Yes.
people no, because I'm
Cornbread from a
that
boss
will
tonight.
stress. Yes,
Yeah.
that will stress you out
It
like
will. It
completely.
will.
Because
Yeah.
I had to learn that myself because
Yeah.
I'm always the one that want to help
Help
people and all that
everybody.
stuff. And I'm like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, Keita, you got to get yourself together first.
Yes. Telling you.
I
Mhm.
love family, but
Yes.
we'll do
You
that.
gotta say no sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
Oh
sure.
yeah, that's
You do.
definitely
And
number
you
one.
know what? And sometimes no, and that's it. And then when people say, "Well, why?" I already gave you the answer. No, that's it. No,
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
you
it.
don't have to give no
Yeah.
long, drawn out explanation.
Mm-mm.
No,
Yeah.
the response.
Yeah,
Period.
because they know your heart. They know that you're a
Yes.
good person, and they know
Yeah.
you will do it for them, but just not
Exactly.
right now.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Not right now. So, girl, we cannot let tonight go without asking you a couple questions about your book.
Okay.
Yes, nothing comes easy. Grounded by faith.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes. So we're so excited. Like we're back here clapping, even though you don't see us. But I'm like, God, I'm liking everything you do, everything you post. I'm like, that's my girl. So
Thank you.
if you don't know, you got a cheering section. You do.
You know I
So,
love y'all. I do. I love y'all to pieces.
so you do. So let's get into the book. So like what effect did rebuilding your relationship with your father have on your life, and how did it affect your journey as a woman? And were you currently like, is it like your personality or like professionally?
Okay. So, first of all, with the book, thank you all for the kudos on that. That's one of those goals that took me like 10 years to accomplish because I allowed fear to set in. And it
Yeah.
was not so much as fear of I can't do it, it was fear of what would people say, what would people think, you know?
Mhm.
And so I had to get past that because it's so personal.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I'm like, you're the most confident person, and you can tell people, oh, get your confidence up, and you worried about what somebody gonna think about your book,
Right.
what the
Right.
So I had to overcome that. And so once I did, I was able to publish it. And I think the biggest person I was concerned about was my father. And growing up, like I, shared with you all a few minutes ago, my mother uprooted us from Atlanta to South Carolina. My father was abusive to my mother. And so that played a pivotal role in, how I viewed men, relationships, et cetera, because I just didn't understand as a little girl why her father would be abusive to her mother, And if I close my eyes, I can see it even now as a woman, and trying to shield my sister from the sounds and sights of it. So that's just how severe it was. And so there were many, countless times when I basically cried out for him to, come visit us or to be more active in our lives growing up. And, every excuse under the sun you could think of is what happened. And so when I became older, and I'm talking like late 20s, going into 30s, I think once you turn 30, oh, I'm a real woman now. So before it became to that point, before it got to that point, I told myself that I really need to mend what's going on with my father, that lack of relationship there. And so he ended up moving back to Atlanta because he was living in South Carolina. So he moved back to Atlanta. And I remember I cooked dinner and he came over. My sister was here. And I had already told my sister, I said, listen, I'm going to ask Daddy some hard questions. And I'm not going to leave the dinner table until I get some real answers. And so I remember asking him those hard questions like, why were you not there? Did you love us? Why were you abusive to mommy? I mean, to the point where he began shaking a little bit, And so I had to, then I felt like I had to kind of just retract a little bit so that way he wouldn't get so upset, emotionally upset. But he was real and he was raw. And that's when he was able to open up and tell us about his childhood and the things he saw his father do to his mother. So it was more of a generational thing that he himself was dealing with, and he didn't seek counseling, And so it just started to click. And so I told him in that moment, I said, well, Daddy, I thought I needed you growing up, you know, but I need you more now as a woman. Like,
Yeah.
I need you in my life, you know. So whatever we need to do, if we can't, you know, make up for time that has been lost. You know, with like, you can't teach me how to ride a bike. You can't, like, those things. You can't, you know, take a picture when I want to. Like, it's over with. But the things that are to come, I want you to be there and active. And so we made a commitment to each other in that moment. And so since then, it's been beautiful. We have been able to have an amazing daddy-daughter relationship. You know, at times he'll still try to, you know, teach me X, Y, Z. And I'm like, okay, daddy, all right. You know, I just listen because I understand he's, you know, he's trying.
He's trying.
But and so we get together once a week. We'll either do brunch or lunch or dinner, whatever he wants to do, you know, just so that way we have that quality time together. And so you know, it honestly, I had to forgive him a long time ago. I forgave him when I was like, I don't know, 14-ish, you know, that early teenage years. And the reason I had to is because I said, I can't continue to live my life, you know, holding some grudge against my father, because all I'm going to do is block my own blessing. And he's going to be out here living his little life. And so I forgave him then. And then in that moment of us having that conversation, I told him to his face, I said, Daddy, I forgive you and I love you. And it's even amazing now to see him and my mommy interact. Like, they interact, they sit at the same table and have dinner and you know, drink and talk. And,
that's healing. That's healing.
That really is healing. It really is. The definition of healing.
So it was really important to me, you know, to mend that, and I really encourage anybody, whether it's, you know, mother, daughter, father, son, whatever the sister, brother, whatever the relationship dynamics are, you know, be that bigger person and forgive, you know, and try to mend, because listen, life is short. And if y'all don't realize it, with this pandemic right here, some amazing people are losing their lives from a little virus, you know, and here you are mad at your mama because, you know, she was tricking around or whatever the case may be. I don't know. You know, but you gotta, at some point, once you become an adult, you got to say, well, you know what, they did the best that they could do. Let me see what I can do now, because I need them in my life. So,
because all kids want to hear, even with, you know, me and Quanta's relationship with our father. Like, we know all the things and the bad things that he done. Like, we've seen it, but we just wanted to just hear it from out of his mouth to say, like, this is what I did wrong. I understand what I did. And just like, forgive me. And that's all we needed.
That's it.
We didn't need nothing else. We didn't need you to buy us this.
No.
We didn't need you to do this, to do that. We just wanted to hear it out of your mouth, to know what we went through and what you've done. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's awesome, Roblena.
That's real good.
Thank you.
And still kind of in that same, in the book, you wrote letters to your dad. Were those actual letters you sent him, or was that just you kind of thinking through what you would say if you were talking to him, or you?
Those were actual letters that I sent him. Actual.
Awesome.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah,
actual letters.
Definitely check out the book, y'all. It's on Amazon. If y'all if you don't already have it, go get it. We're gonna. No, I mean that's a topic. You know, father, daughter, parents, relations. Those are that affects a lot of people.
It does.
You know, a lot of women have you know bad relationships with their dad, and it affects their future relationships with dating and husbands and all of
everything
that. It affects our self-esteem and confidence and all that stuff. So it's just really good to hear how you were able to rebuild and forgive, and how great it is now that even, like you said, your parents are able to sit at the table together and enjoy a meal. So that's amazing.
We'll be having Easter dinner on Sunday.
There you go. Awesome. Awesome. So we're gonna go a little further in the book. I think this is the last question we're gonna touch on from the book. One of your quotes in the book, you wrote, "I do not know what the future may hold, but I thank God because that is not my problem. All I have to do is submit to his will and his way, and he will lead me to the paths of righteousness." So, this was, I think toward the end of the book, once you had kind of, told your story and you were kind of on the other side of those things. So we just want to know, can you talk about what that looks like, as far as submitting to God's will and how easy or how difficult that has been? Because I know, like, speaking for me personally, I've said, God, you got it, you can have it, I don't want it no more. And then at some time later, I find myself, I done took the wheel again, and I'm like, oh, my bad, God. Let me give it back to you.
Yeah. Yes. So everything that I do, because if you got crazy faith, if you have crazy faith, then you got to have a crazy prayer life. And I talk to God just like I'm talking to all of you right now. It's no fancy formal. It's like, listen, homeboy, what is going on? Like what are you doing in heaven? This is how I talk to him. And so I always tell him that I don't ever want to do anything that's outside of his will for my life. Like nothing. If it's not in his will for my life, I don't want it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to taste it. I don't want to feel it, because I need to make sure that I'm in his safety. Because as we go through life, your career, jobs, there's always going to be some type of danger or quote unquote hater or quote enemy on the other side of it, And so I'm going to need him to, send that army ahead of me to protect me. So it's not always easy. It's not always easy, but it's definitely necessary. And I told my mommy this about a month or so ago, because she's always telling me, I get a lot of people who call me, and I'm grateful for it. They call me for advice and just to talk or whatever. And, sometimes I get tired, and sometimes I need encouraging my doggone self. Like, encouraging word.
That's true.
I told my mother, I was like, sometimes I get tired of encouraging people. I'm just being real. And she's like, you're just having a tired moment, And so that's when I go to God, and because she'll say, well, that's just a gift God gave you. God gave you that gift to encourage people, to empower people. And I'd be like, Lord, why? Like, you could have just give it to somebody else. Like, just take it away. And then soon as I get done saying that, the phone's ringing and my friend is in distress, and I'm like, okay, girl, now what's going on? Let's see. Let's talk to this. Right back into submission, right back in the thick of it. So it is challenging, but it's so necessary. Like I say, even when I'm setting my goals and I'm like, okay, and like, we can just take this year 2020, like I was like, it's about to be foot on necks, like I'm going for everything, and I have to say, okay, God, now if this is not what you want me to do, then don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Show me a sign. And so, it's a thin line between don't let it happen and you quote unquote failed, because it's not always that you failed, and it's not always that it wasn't in his will. It's just that it was something better around the corner, up the block, up the street, or whatever,
Right.
But I always pray, and I always say, Lord, please and this is so old school. I guess I used to hear grandma say this all the time. I always say, Lord, just put my little hand in your big hand and lead the way. And
that's good though. That's really good.
That's how I end my prayers. Even when it comes to I'll be 36 in July, and I'm like, I was in the bed the other night. I can't go to sleep. And I was like, well, Lord, what are you waiting on? Like, what is you waiting to do? I'm trying to get Mama some two-legged grandkids. She got fluffy, but what are you doing?
Right.
What are you? And I asked him. I said, all you want me to do is work. That's all you want me to do is just work. And empower people.
I had that same conversation with God all the time. I'll be 31 in August, and I have that same conversation.
Oh,
like, what
that's
is
right.
going on? So,
Okay.
and I was so upset the next morning. I told my mother, I said, well, let me just close the door to marriage. Maybe it's not in God's will. We'll just close the door, but I just I said, I'm going to close the door. So,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, that is something. We get it. We get it. Well,
Yes,
before we end the interview, Robalina, tell us what do you have upcoming? Is there anything you have upcoming that you want to tell our listeners about?
Yeah, so of course I'm still doing my nonprofit. I do have another book that's in the works.
Okay.
That will be, I can't give you a published date yet, but
Okay.
it is
That's quite all
definitely
right.
it's definitely in the works. And I just started another business, Miss PhD Enterprises, and it's centered around I do a lot of consulting, but this time I want it to be where I'm able to hire, African American women, and not to discriminate against anybody else, but I really want to be able to, help individuals level up or boss up.
So,
So that is unfolding, and prayerfully, if it's in the Lord's will, putting in some bids for some different government contracts and stuff like that, just so that way I could just give back and really help, my sisters.
I love it.
Awesome.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. Well,
Thank
girl, we are super excited.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. So much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want it to end.
Yes. It is so amazing.
Talk.
It's so good to talk to you again.
Yes,
we haven't talked in so long.
I know.
I
know. Well, I'm glad to hear your voice. I'm glad y'all are doing safe. And hey, if there's another segment you need me on, just how to get in touch with me.
Yes, we will not hesitate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all, ladies.
We love you. All. We love you. Love you. Love you.
Love y'all too. Take care.
All right.
You
take
too.
care.
All right. So as we wrapping it up tonight, you all know that we have that no shade challenge.
Oh, is that shade?
So, ladies, remember with the no shade challenge with cornbread and erratic behavior, you always want to give a compliment to a woman that you don't know. Just let them feel good. It just make you feel good. It brings into a better relationship with each other as just women. But being that we're quarantined, Lord, let's get rid of this quarantine time. But we have a no shade challenge for April. So the no shade challenge for April is to reach out to another woman. You want like a friend, a single mom, single friends like Tessie, friends who are business owners and out or like out for work or whatever it may be. Out of work. So you want to talk and see and how they're feeling and doing during the quarantine. Just check up on a sister like Tessie said earlier.
Check on your friends.
Check up on them.
We're not.
Might not be all right.
So I'm super excited. We got news with Robalina today because we checked up on her before we even started just to see how family's doing. If everything is okay. Everybody's being quarantined. So that's the no shade challenge for April.
Okay. Thanks, Keita. Well, guys, listeners, please make sure you follow us on our Instagram at erratic_behavior. And after that, take the no shade challenge. Hit us up in the comments or DMs and tell us how it went. We're available on all podcast platforms, so you can also leave your comments in the review section after you listen to the show. Okay?